We're live. We're live on air with Dr.
Right.
Robert Morse. Here we go.
Yeah, we don't have an audio here, but you might not need it.
There you go.
Oh. Hello, my dear friends. It's a pleasure. It seems like this is the last talk we're going to give this month. And I really like to bring good information to the public here on this planet, particularly because, you know, you're talking about veganism, and we've been talking about the move from there to fruitarianism when you're in the process of getting into the body and regenerating it. And I think it's important in this final talk that one thing beyond just oneself. You know, it's easy to cure just about anything that's out there. You got to realize this planet has a very lack, I'll say, of understanding of the lymphatic system, acidosis, what all these diseases really are. So there's just a lot of illusionary concepts that are perpetrated by special interests. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. But then the final analysis, if you're sitting there with a tumor in you, you're sitting there with fibromyalgia, you're sitting there full of pain, whether it's Lyme, lupus, I don't care what it is, you can get rid of that when you understand how the body works. We have a medical community that does not understand how the body works, and sadly so. So you have to think outside of the box. You have to get out of your thinking processes and step back into consciousness, where then you can see the truth of it all and be ready for that truth. When you're playing with thought processes and you're using the mind, let's say, to navigate in creation, then you are prone to propaganda, misconceptions, conditioning, things like this. And so on this planet, there's so much mistruths. And one of them, of course, is vegetarianism, is vegetables. Humans are not vegetable eaters. We can eat them, and it doesn't hurt us. But let's say one of you have MS, or one of you are working on a case, because I try to get all my students to become healers. Because each and every one of you not only can heal yourself, but you can reach your hand out and help others. And that's what this planet needs. This planet's in trouble. Man has never seen the decay of the human cell at this level before, ever. And that's simply because man doesn't understand what's decaying the cell. What is breaking down the cell? What's breaking down genetic memories? Why are we seeing all this mutation? So it takes you back into chemistry and physics. And it's interesting, we have a huge modality that controls all this stuff that doesn't seem to understand that. So you guys have to get smart with understanding how your physical body is designed, what food your body is designed to eat. You got to step outside of this intellectual box and take a look at how God designed the creatures on the planet and the foods each creature is designed to consume. The human is just another creature on the planet. You know, you're not a human. You're just using a human body. Remember that. Remember who you guys really are. But the bottom line to this level of thinking isn't just health for yourself. It is health and rebuilding of the future on this planet. The children, the genetics in the children are at such a low that we have people like St. Jude's that are advertising and showing you these emotional stories while they're juicing these kids with chemo, killing them. So you have to understand and wake up to this, especially your mothers. What type of raw foods do you feed your babies? How nutritious is mother's milk? And we talked a little bit about that the last time. We go way overboard with nutrition, and we don't understand digestion, absorption, utilization, which is hormones and steroids, and then the essential process of eliminating all the byproducts created by all those processes. And they don't understand any of those. Well, it's important that you understand them. It's important you understand how your body works, the importance of the foods that you eat and the types of food you eat and what that food will do for you. When it comes to the botanicals, you can use botanicals to do about anything you want to do. If you consider the herbs as a candy store for those that want to be well and regenerate tissue, you've got a big candy store. So I'm going to open this up to questions and things, although the last time we did run out of questions too. But if there's any questions out there, I'd be glad to answer them. I apologize. I've been talking my head off. So
All right, we have a question. Why does endometriosis and ovarian cysts occur? Is it genetic?
Well, you could have a genetic weakness in the uterine tissue and an ovarian tissue, but understanding the lymphatic system and the role of your kidneys is vital. When you pee, it isn't just peeing out nothing. You're supposed to be peeing out metabolitic waste. That's waste from the cells. And all waste from the cells, from all the processes we've talked about the last time, is all acidic. So your kidney's job is to remove the acids out of tissues. If that isn't happening, then the retention of acids creates acidosis. The word that you might be accustomed to hearing for acidosis, which is inappropriate, is inflammation. Inflammation is really your body's immune response against predominantly proteins. So they use that, of course, as pathogens, as bacterium and things like that. Your body has very little immune response against bacterium, to be honest with you. They live symbiotically with bacterium and with fungus. So it's just the way nature is, and understanding the role of bacterium in this. So when your kidneys cease to filter these wastes, and what happens, we talked about it the last time, get yourself a mason jar and pee in it. If your urine is clear, you're not removing your metabolitic waste. And this includes in the ovaries, this includes in the uterus, it includes in the testicles, in the prostate, in the lungs, in the heart, and it's systemic. This is the problem. So when you're having ovarian cysts, you're having kidney weakness. And you notice you have them when your period is. This is because you have estrogen, which is acidic, not real acidic, but still acid on top of acidosis yields big time trouble. And a good example of that is chemo on top of cancer, because cancer is just a highly acidic condition of the body. And when you take chemo on top of it, you just burn the person to death. So endometriosis is the same way. This is all interstitial, but with endometriosis, it can just go to the outside of the uterus. And like I said last week, you weld the uterus to your colon. So if you're having this type of problem, you've got to get your kidneys filtering and get your lymphatic system moving. And even if you have fibroids, it'll pull all those out. Everything will come out. You'll stop popping ovarian cysts. You don't have to have hysterectomies. And by the way, I would also douche with our Hill All Tea just to remove any possibility of atypical cells.
Without access to pure rain or spring water, is non-mineralized reverse osmosis water or distilled water better?
Yeah. That's what I used. I had a whole house RO system. The problem, of course, is leaching. When you have something that's void, and then you have something that has dense chemistry in it, you're going to have a movement of chemistry from the dense side to the less dense side, the fusion. And when that happens, so you can take your pipes, when you're running RO water in your house, it's like running distilled water. It'll leach from your pipes. It'll leach. So that's the only negative side that I see of RO water and distilled water is it will leach into itself. So you never buy distilled water in plastic. You can taste that.
When people see that I mainly eat raw fruits and veggies, they often say I have to watch out that I'm not getting too many vitamins because that can be dangerous. Is that true?
Not from that. That's the beauty of raw foods. You can eat and eat and eat and eat, and your body will discharge what it is using. So that idea of vitamins. Now, if you isolate and take them, that's a problem. Because in nature, everything is synergistically bound and ratioed, and pH ratioed. So when you go in there, and I get a good example is arsenic. Arsenic is a distant cousin. As a distant cousin, it's nutritive. Bring arsenic forward and treat it like a brother, like calcium or magnesium, it'll kill you. So chemistry has to be kept in those ratios. And when it is consumed by the food, what your body doesn't want, it excretes. No big deal. When you isolate, you've changed the whole power matrix. You change the whole consciousness. And now you have something totally different. Vitamin A or beta carotene is not what you find in your fruits and vegetables. It becomes something else. Mm-hmm.
If someone is allergic to coconut and apples, does that mean their body needs to be more detoxed out? Is it possible to reconsume those foods safely when going on a long-term fruit veggie diet?
Yeah.
When going on a long-term fruitarian diet, will it be safe to drink our urine to detox further? It was once mentioned by doing this, it has re-cleansed the eye, and after going blind for a week, the eye is 100 times better than what it was.
You know what? If you're a urine drinker, let's hope you're not filtering. Because I'm going to tell you, these are acidic wastes from the cells. These are metabolitic wastes. And, even in the military, they tell you don't drink your own urine. Be careful when you do that. You got to be real careful when you do that. And there's urine therapy is circulated. I've been in this field 45 years. So the urine therapy is circulated around about every few years. No. Really, if you're going for a long-term fruitarian program, it's going to be a high detoxifying program. So, and if you have a body that has a lot of weaknesses in it, you're going to see some ups and downs on that. But be prepared for a level of energy and consciousness that's incredible. But not all can get there. And I couldn't sustain that because it was too energetic for me. But I had the right fruit. The other problem is when we say fruit, a lot of people think grocery store fruit. And that's just not true whatsoever. Now, if you get allergic to something, as a rule, it's your lymphatic system. There's not the blood. So once you clean your lymphatic system out, you can consume anything again. You're going to be allergic to a million different things. Clean your lymph system out and you're perfect. It just means you're saturated, stagnant. And it's your lymph system, your main immune system.
What color should your urine be if you are properly hydrated?
If you're properly hydrated, I'm going to say your urine should be a light yellow. A light yellow. If you start getting too green and too dark and odorous, you have too many proteins in your world. And proteins damage the kidneys. And then the kidneys cease filtering. Now, you also have adrenal gland on top, and I doubt if there's anybody listening that doesn't have some degree of adrenal gland weakness. If you're below 40, I guarantee it. And how much? Good question. Where's the top blood pressure number? Both arms. You check your top blood pressure, that's the systolic blood pressure, both arms, and that's your adrenal look. And you have two adrenals, right? One on the left, one on the right. So you have a different blood pressure bilaterally. You have a different lymph flow bilaterally. You have different blood sugar bilaterally. And they don't think about that, but you can check it and see, and you'll see differences all the time. Different kidney and adrenals. You actually have the right adrenals metabolize sugars for you, right? Cortisol. The lady before was talking about starches. The fungal food. So you've got to fix those adrenals, because when the adrenals go down, they'll take the kidneys with them. And if you're not filtering, again, pee in a jar, and if it's not cloudy, if it doesn't look like you just snowed in there, then you're not filtering. And if you're not filtering, ask yourself, where's the sewage from all my cells, 100 trillion cells? Where's all that going? And it's acidic. So when you go, oh, wow, I feel my shoulder, that's where they're going. They're staying home and they're burning you. Whenever you feel pain, that's acidosis. And that creates spasticity and then on and on and on, because acids, of course, being predominantly phosphorus, nitrogen side of the family, suck the electrolytes out, especially your calcium. So then you start losing connective tissue, you sag, you prolapse, you varicose, spider veins, things like that. You develop calcifications, things like this. You become rocked up. I remember a lady, she was a nurse. She worked as a nurse anesthetist. And she had arthritis, which means she was acidic. Her kidneys weren't filtering. Where her boss, the anesthesiologist, told her to take calcium supplements. She came into my clinic like she just got off of a horse and been out on the prairie for about 10 years. She couldn't hardly walk. She's bow-legged like crazy. Rocked herself up. So you have to be careful. You got to know what you're doing. But once you do, and it's simple and easy, you can not only fix yourselves from anything, all the way to helping others. Because there's nothing more cool than putting your hand out there and saying, let me help you. You've suffered enough. And that's how you can help people spiritually get rid of this current burden that they're carrying, and you can help them get rid of that.
Please explain why from ovulation through to menstruation, ovulation is worse. My digestion's low, nose until almost a stop. I lose my appetite and become constipated despite eating a diet of all fruit and herbs for over a year. All symptoms alleviate at menstruation and the pattern repeats every month. Is this caused by a hormone released at ovulation?
I think your glands are down, whether it's your adrenal gland down or your pituitary down. So you might want to take a look at that. Take a look at your eyes, take a picture of your eyes, and take a look at the pituitary region. Take a look at the thyroid and parathyroid regions. And take a look at those and see what you've got going on there, because it's a possibility you have a little pituitary going on there. That controls all that you're talking about. And when you're down in the glands, then these type of symptoms pop up all the time. Painful menstruation, excessive bleeding, clotting. But you remember what the monthly period is. Remember, it's a cleaning cycle. And remember that when you detoxify your lymph system, and this includes in the uteri, you're not going to bleed as much. You're going to spot. And especially once you get those adrenals online, you get the pituitary connection, right? With the FSH, you get all this connection in balance, you get all the glands healthy, you won't even hardly know you have a monthly cycle. And to me, that would be what I would want as a woman. You know, I would want to feel healthy. I would want to feel like I'm, problematic with that. And a lot of people have different bad ideas with that. No, this has to do with our levels of toxemia and toxicity and acidosis. And man just hasn't woke up to that. Man's dragging along with his head buried in the sand, still talking about healthy milk and healthy meat and stuff like that, paleo stuff like that. We need as a civilization on the planet to lift the head up just a little bit more and start thinking more spiritual and start thinking more raw and divine, because all vertebrates are designed for raw foods. That's all creatures are designed for raw foods. No one's designed to cook your food before you eat it. That's ridiculous. But we accepted that. I was an old farm boy. We accepted cooked foods. Mom cooked really good. And then raw, why would you eat raw foods? Cooking is really good. But then when you eat raw food, you start realizing, no, this is really good. The cook sucks. So you change your whole demeanor. And then when you start eating fruit over vegetables and you get good fruit, then you start realizing, this lettuce, I keep chewing it, that lettuce is in my teeth and all the nuts in my teeth. The fruit just clean you all the way down and all the way out. They're a better level.
Have you ever helped anyone with sleeping problems and anxiety with the raw food diet? And how did it help? What kind of program or advice did you give them? This
is a good question, because I just had a case where a young man has a lot of problems. He's just trying to fix him on the raw foods, and his mom's freaking out because he's having a lot of problems with it. I highly recommend botanicals, and I do recommend some glandulars at times. If you have insomnia, then I can guarantee you probably have a transverse colon issue, digestive issue in that way, and also a real probability of pituitary. I've seen tens of thousands of eyes in my world, and this is what comes together with that. So with insomnia, you want to get upper circulation going. You want to get blood, oxygenated blood going up into these tissues. At the same time, you want to fix why your pineal gland is going down, right? Well, one connection is the transverse bowel, believe it or not. Symbiotically in the embryonic stages, we can explain that to you. So you've got to fix up the GI tract to fix the head up, believe it or not. Now, once you get the sinuses are draining, you get everything with that, then you can get a little better kick on that. Recommendation, parathyroid glandular, about a 50 milligram, 1 or 2 caps, 1 or 2 hours before sleep. And while you're using that temporarily to get some rest so you don't stress yourself, you're also working on your kidneys, your adrenal glands. Anxiety is adrenals. Okay, depression, parathyroid, anxiety, adrenals. Adrenals are your connection to your astral body, your emotional world, right? Not so here. This is connection to the id, the ego, the self. And when you have a real low thyroid, a lot of times you don't love yourself anymore. You don't care for yourself anymore. You're down. Well, power yourself up. And that's what this is all about, is powering each and every one of you up, because the world that's coming is going to be tough, real tough. You see it already. A lot of you guys that can see the future already know that. So you want to power yourself up, become strong, become healthy. And it's easy to do. You just have to change your thought patterns. Well, how do you change your thought patterns? when they're conditioned like that. And it's like a machine. It's like a phonograph. You play the same old music over and over, the same old thoughts. You got to get out of your mind. As crazy as that sounds, you've got to stop thinking. So the little message today is stop thinking. Step back. Observe. You can observe so much more than you can think. Thinking reduces you to little thought forms, and that's your attention, lost in little thought forms. When you pull back from that, you don't have those thought forms. You get to see the universes and who you really are.
What do you tell people regarding the conversion of omega-3 into EPA and DHA? I constantly get told that we don't convert it properly and thus need to have fish oils because the fish convert it for us.
You know what? I don't tell anybody anything about them because I don't put my consciousness there. I came through that years ago. I had health food stores back in the early 70s. I had supplements. And then as a naturopath, I started using supplements until some little voice would keep telling me about herbs. And I'm going, what? Look what I made. That voice kept saying, look what I made for you. And that just woke me right up. But the supplements doesn't fit. And when you're thinking like that, that doesn't fit in holistic. Holistic, we're holistic. Holistic is not about isolates. Vitamins and minerals are not in our field, really. They're really in allopathic field because they isolate. When you isolate, you've just lost the consciousness of the plant. You've isolated down, and now you've lost synergisticity. You've lost the brethren that's helping that chemistry to work properly. So then you got pharmaceuticals bitching about alkaloids and things like this. They're the ones that isolate alkaloids, not us. Alkaloids come in plants buffered. So I don't get into isolates like that. If you want to know about fatty acids, then you have to know about your lymph system because you can talk about all this all day long, but I want you to think about 4 things first. If you do not digest your foods properly, you're done right there, right there. Well, what's your main digestive organs? Your main digestive organ is the pancreas. Your second one, of course, for lipids is what? Gallbladder, right? All right. We have a chart that shows a duct from the gallbladder to the small bowel that carries your fatty acids. Now, here's the thing. Get a medical dictionary and take a look under fatty acids and take a look at how the body absorbs fatty acids. Not into the bloodstream, right? Right. Into where? Your lymphatic system. And I guarantee you 80% of the people out there are malabsorbed. So until you fix digestion, absorption, utilization, meaning you have to have a hormone or steroid in the utilization of most minerals and most chemistry, and then you remove the metabolitic waste from all this process, you can't talk about deficiencies or omegas or anything like that at all. Because you're missing the whole point of why man's suffering, and now you're trying to treat the symptom with X potential of units or milligrams of whatever. And that gets you nowhere. If we've learned anything allopathically, is you don't treat. You pull back and say, what's causing this problem? I don't want to treat the symptom of it. I want to eliminate the cause, because if I don't eliminate the cause, I'm going to always chase this problem. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And then with the pharmaceutical suppression, you can get yourself in real trouble. You want to be real careful with that. So you never want to treat anything. You want to make whole and healthy. Animals don't go, see how much omega acid should I have today? They don't think that way. And you don't want to either, because it keeps you lost in the field of dreams. And you want to wake up, don't you? Don't you guys want to be spiritual and wake up? Or do you want to keep chasing the butt end of everybody? Remember, if you're not lead dog, the view is always the same.
There are a lot of sweeteners on the market these days. How bad is maple syrup, agave nectar, raw honey, date syrup, etc.? Or are they pretty neutral?
Yeah, I like that. Well, the problem with, obviously, maple syrup, the taste is good, but they cook the holy heck out of it to get it in form. Anybody ever had sap on your fingers? So you cook the holy heck out of it. And I understand the same thing with agave. I can't verify that, but I was for agave. All right, here we go. And then I heard they cooked the heck out of that. So when you high heat stuff and you cook it down, you're getting nothing. You're just getting concentrated carbon and nitrogen and stuff like that, and that's always acidic, or creates a more acidosis. So I don't know about that. I like date sugar, but that's from dates freshly ground. Now, I don't know about date syrup. You got to find out whether they process it or cook it. If they cook it, forget it. It's not worth it. But to tell you the truth, I don't use sugar on anything. I don't need any sugar. I eat predominantly fruits, berries, and melons. I have my salads, but I don't feel the need to add sugar to anything, because if you eat the foods, they're pretty good, you know. Fructose is sweet and glucose is fairly sweet. And I don't know. But there was a health food store by my, there was a health food restaurant by my health food store, and they were using date sugars and stuff like that. They came with some mean recipes. That was good. But people back then, this is the early 70s, people back then go, health food? So they went out of business, and then I did too.
What is better to drink, organic coconut water that has been pasteurized or distilled water?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. That's a good question. The problem, of course, I would have loved to say coconut water, and I probably would. It's just, I don't know how much processing, because remember, when you heat, you're acidifying. And when you acidify anything, it creates what's called a coagulation. So what it's called is, when things get acidic, it's called cationic. And it's a dehydrated medium where in the ionization process, you're burning up your electrolytes because the acids outweigh the electrolytes. And in most people's diets are so low in electrolytes and high in acids that this is just adding and adding and adding to extreme systemic acidosis in people. So if you don't eat fresh fruits and vegetables and berries and melons, even though some are acidic, but if you don't eat those, basically you're eating acidic foods. Quinoa and millet may be a little alkaline, it's still starch, and too much carbon breaks down into acids again. Everything breaks down into acids. So the more you have, keep it simple. You're designed, your body, the human body is a simple design, and it's designed for simple food. When you complex food, your body gets confused, and so does the mind. Try this sometime. Go on a couple of weeks of just a couple, 3 fruits, maybe some mangoes and a banana and maybe some grapes. And then for a couple of weeks, and then have a big salad, and pay attention to your psychic, pay attention to your body energetically and how it responds to the consciousness of the food you're eating, not the chemistry, the consciousness of the food you're eating, because everything is awake, or at least has consciousness at this level.
Let's see. What is the best way to extract medicine from herbs? I currently use 80 proof alcohol or apple cider vinegar soaked for a few weeks in the window.
Well, that's okay. We were using 190 proof pharmaceutical alcohol. Then we wanted to go to the grape alcohol. Well, we went to the grape alcohol for about 1-2 weeks. And we placed large orders at our lab. And the people that made the grape alcohol said, oh, we're just going to raise our prices way up there. So then we went to sugarcane alcohol. So now we're using sugarcane alcohol, and I don't even know the friggin' proof. But I think, it's like brandy and stuff. You can get up around 90 proof, but I would use grain alcohol. And I would mix that for a month. And I would start it at the full moon, at the new moon, and I would take it at the full moon. And you'll have a power there you can feel, but 1 to 4. See, our herbs are 1 to 4. They don't have that out there on the market. You want 1 to 4. That means you can't get any more goopi in there without it being syrup. So that's as strong as you can make it and still come out with any type of profit, but also any type of minstrel, any type of mix. And they're strong. I'm an herb thinker, man. I've used gallons and gallons and gallons in my time, and I've seen nothing but tremendous benefits. So when you're going through detoxification, if you go on an herbal program and you make sure you're addressing the glands, look at our website and see how we've got them laid out if you want to know how we lay out our programs. and give you an idea of what herbs we recommend, because I've detoxed people from just raw foods all the way to developing programs, so it won't be so hard. Because if you just go on raw foods and detoxify, I guarantee you your healing crisis could be a little bumpy. But if you understand the kidney connection and the adrenal connection to the lymph system, which is what you're detoxifying, then you're going to want to hit that and work with that so you're not having some real strong healing crisis. You know, I used to get calls all through the night in healing crisis. Now I don't get them because I've learned how to help people better and how to detox better and wiggle them through these deep, dark areas of acidosis and pain. But you can, and you can win the day, okay? Doesn't matter what you're suffering with. You can be like this in a wheelchair and can't even talk, and you can get your life back. We've got them. We're going to show you videos of that. We got them in the process now. Had plenty of them in my life. So don't ever think you're alone and there's nothing you can do with your problem. You're only thinking allopathic. They can't cure anything. So why do you go to a medical doctor that first doesn't understand what causes anything, let alone treat it or cure it? See, when you don't understand what causes something and you treat it with pharmaceuticals, and let me say you're taking your life in your own hands. Not wise. But if you understand the cause of the problem, you're empowered to win the day. And I recommend all of you win the day, especially if you've been suffering a long time. And if you're in a wheelchair, get your butt out. And it can be done. Done a lot of it.
I have been confronted and challenged by many people, including optometrists, that eyes cannot change color. As they cite, there have not been any scientific proof. There has not been any scientific proof. What do you say in response to this?
I laugh at them. I laugh at them because we have befores and afters. If you've been to our iridology school, we show you the befores and afters. We got plenty of them. To think that anything is static in creation means they don't understand physics. Nothing is static in creation. Matter of fact, think about NASA. They use fractional seconds. So it's just nothing is static, and there's always changes. That was the fallacy of German iridology. They said you had fixed eyes. But the real reason people see that is that people don't know how to detox into the body deep enough to get to these changes. They don't understand the lymph system because your eye color is based upon your lymph system. The lacunas and the crypts, the lesions that's your cells. So your eye color is based upon your lymphatic system and the degree you have stagnation in that system. So you can have a blue eye and have brown in it. Matter of fact, we show you a lot of brown eyes that are actually blue eyes. And when we're done with them, their eyes are blue again. So these guys, when it comes to medical doctors, I don't even listen because these guys, they don't know anything. I mean, they might be able to pull out some cholesterol, which is a cataract, but they don't know how to fix that properly. They don't realize that not only is the cataract there, it's already plaqued all in your brain. So there's so much they don't know. So I don't even listen to them. We're making our own life here. We're setting up natural health like it should be, guys, because then we're proving the remedies are all over the world, all over the place. We have tens of thousands of people writing in with remedies all over. One guy, we had this Hollywood producer, no more leukemia, 8 weeks. Same time, we get a letter in the mail, just got rid of my leukemia. 8 weeks, I can't believe it. So that's the sort of thing that's going on. And when you understand why and how the body's designed, you'll get it. And you'll go, oh, I got it. And then you'll be empowered the rest of your life. And with your kids and everything else, you'll be able to raise good, healthy babies, et cetera, et cetera. So never be afraid to disembark from medical thinking, because when you use science, to me, this is pseudoscience. They're into pseudoscience. They don't even understand acidosis and what everybody's suffering with. Well, if you don't understand what causes what they call cancer, if you don't understand what damages a cell and how you can turn that around without killing the person, then I don't know what to say. People go to these people for their opinion and they don't have a clue. So you just have to understand they've been educated a certain level of thinking. And unless you wake up, then you're always going to negate anything outside of that level of training. It's just the way the mind works. So we're introducing another level outside of this conditioning in the human state and showing you how it is. And it's really fantastic. I love to see. I mean, you just can't believe the healings that are going on. But understand your lymphatic system. And we have a video on YouTube about the lymphatic system, and review that and get that system down, and you'll have an aha moment.
Should everyone's eyes change color with proper detoxification?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you already have blue eyes and they're white, that white is the lymph system. So as that mucus comes out of you, you'll see it in your stools, you'll see it in your urine. You might even get a sinus drainage, which is mucus, cough up mucus out of the bronchi and lungs. You start to notice it's getting bluer. And your friends will go, your eyes are really blue. And one guy had brown eyes, and a friend came up and said, what? Your eyes are turning blue. Of course, he got a big grin because he knew that that meant he was moving his lymph system and that he was clearing these acids out of his body. So it's a fun new level, an adventure to go on, guys. And I would go in wholeheartedly and have fun. Don't be afraid to get rid of propaganda on this planet. And think about treatment. When someone says, what do you do with omegas or B12s and this stuff? Treatment-based thinking. And it gets you nowhere. You know, I was in Shania Twain's mansion in Switzerland one day, and I was having a conversation with the president of Nestle's baby food company. And he was going on about B12. They hire all these nutritionists and stuff like that. And I'm talking about that because there's controversy everywhere. B12 isn't a vitamin, it's a co. So you've got the meat eaters saying it's just in the meat, and then you have the vegetable eaters saying B12 is in the vegetables. It's a co-vitamin. So his wife walked up and she said, honey, when I eat meat, my B12 goes down. When I say raw, my B12 goes up. I had to laugh. But that's the sort of thing that's out there. So much misconceptions. And you want to just kind of get rid of that, because that chokes you off from truth. Your mind will choke you off. If you get too educated, you're getting educated on other people's theories and ideas. How about getting your own? How about looking at life from your own perspective without conditioned thinking? Tough, because you have to stop thinking, and we're trained to think. Not something you have to do, but we're trained to think. Well, you got to think, but you know what I'm saying.
Are you familiar with Dr. Michael Greger? A recent video I saw entitled, Should Vegans Take DHA to Preserve Brain Function? Concluded we should take non-contaminated algae-based DHA. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't. You know, we're in Florida right now, of course, and on the East Coast, beautiful Miami Beach, all of the beauty, not so much. Blue-green algae all over the place. I said, you know, because Florida's going how toxic blue-green algae is. They're neurotoxic, of course, shuts down your breathing. I'm saying, you know what? This is water as pure as Klamath Lake. Package it and sell it. There'll be people buy it. That's the problem. Like urine therapy, stool therapy, blue-green algae, stuff like this. Nutrition is in the fruits, the berries, and the melons. The second level of nutrition is in your vegetables, and it goes on down depending. You know, when you look at vegetables and you look at a horse, you take a wild stallion. We used to raise horses. So when you have a wild stallion, how does he get so big? And if you've had horses, you know what a big wild stallion would be like. And as a little human, you got to be a little careful with those guys, right? Because, you know, we've had some big horses. But they eat a lot of grass. So they have to eat a lot and process a lot. So they have several stomachs. They have a huge, long GI tract. We don't need to eat that much. And the fruit is so energetic, you'll find yourself not eating much at all because you're so energetic. When you quit thinking, you'll have more energy than you realize, because thinking requires energy. So when you're sick, you kick back and relax. You quit thinking. You quit desiring. You don't need anything. You just want to be. Just want to hang out and be. And let that God energy come through and heal and move and excite and invigorate. And at the same time, eat fruits, berries, and melons, and you guys are really sore. It's amazing.
I have dislocated my shoulder 3 times. There was a bad tear and the cartilage was hanging in the flap. The doctor said I need surgery, but do you think I could heal this on my own? I very much believe in the power of visualization, and I'm discovering raw foods now. It's already starting to heal. My massage therapist says he feels the injury is gone, but I need to build strength and stability as it could still fall out easily. Could raw foods heal this, and specifically what raw foods?
Well, any raw foods can heal that, but let me give you what I would do. I would definitely go after my lymphatic system, go after my body, because you're so acidic. You're not healing, and there's something else that's going on with you, and it's called the parathyroid gland. Now, I don't know if your case where you have a pituitary that's sitting down on the parathyroid, or you have a parathyroid specifically. But when you have a parathyroid weakness, you can no longer utilize calcium, or when you do, it's very low. So all your joints start popping out, all types of problems. So you want to fix this. You want to go on a diet of fruits, berries, and melons, add some green drinks. And I would add parsley and dandelion greens, and then you can pick whatever else. You can pick up spinach, you can add whatever you want on top of those two. If you can still get dandelion greens, it's like. At the same time, highly recommend you get a parathyroid glandular. Sorry, but you want to go after this because surgery doesn't fix it either. Because when they go in, they can screw and repair. But what's making this weak? Not just the injury. You heal when you get cut or injured, right? But you're not. Why? And that's acidosis. When you're too acidic, you keep losing calcium and you can't heal because you can't heal under this acidic sky. It requires the base sky to heal because acids are corrosive in chemistry. So I don't know whether you have a pituitary connection, but just to keep it light, I would take a parathyroid formula, about 50 milligrams, 1 or 2 capsules 3 times a day. I would hitchhike a bones formula on that 2-3 times a day, and that bone should have comfrey. And at the same time, I'm on raw, baby, 100% raw. Absolutely. You want to regenerate. You're at 100% raw. You're not going to regenerate eating cooked dead foods. That takes energy out of the body. If you want to put energy in the body, you want living foods, which empowers the body, and then the chemistry is all complete. But you got to fix some glands. And that parathyroid, you got to remember that gland. In school, they tell you it's in not much worth bull. This is your depression or your happiness. This is your bones, connective tissue. This is a big deal, guys. Both your thyroid and parathyroid deal with your skeletal system and your connective tissue. Thyroid calcitonin, parathormone, parathyroid.
Let's see. Hey, Dr. Robert Morse. My dad seems a bit lost these days and thinks that eating fruit and herbs doesn't cure anything because there hasn't been any scientific proof that this works. He often cites celebrities who have died despite being raw. My dad's name is David, and he's a little bit overweight, high blood pressure, cholesterol, family history of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Could you please speak to him through the camera to give him inspiration and hope that something can be done? Many thanks.
Oh, sure. But that does tell you where your genetics are. So you want to look at this because he has cholesterol problems. That means his kidneys are down. And when your kidneys go down, you start having low blood pressure. Then it goes the other way. It's like blood sugar. It goes low at first, and then it soars the other way. And so when that happens and you retain acids, your body has to defend against acids or it'll burn you up literally inside. That's what cancer is, or what they call cancer is the burn from the acids. So your body uses several methods to try to stop this. The first method is corticosteroids. When the adrenals are down, forget that. So those steroids in your adrenal glands are made from what? Cholesterol. So now your body's going to turn to cholesterol directly. And if that's a problem, it's going to start pulling calcium. So you'll either plaque with calcium or cholesterol, one of the two. And it's all fighting acids, because if acids win, you lose. And the body knows that. So it has to protect itself. This is a dualistic universe. And acids is only one side of chemistry. And if you'll notice, this planet is a female or a base dominant planet in chemistry. It's not an acid dominant. It's not 50-50. It's a base dominant planet. Even at 50-50, you couldn't survive. That's how strong acids are. It has to be base dominant. And that's how your good, properly raised fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables should be, is about that 80-20. 80% base, 20% acidic factors. But for the dad, what's funny is there's a lot of people like your dad that claim scientific data, and what they don't realize is that most of the scientific data is hogwash. There is none. And there's no real scientists out there doing a lot. I hired a stem cell expert once. She wanted to get out of the field. She said it's boring, nothing going on. I've looked at this for many, many years here, and we follow science. You know, our new counselor is not only did she go all the way through osteopathic school, she is a 16-year professor of A&P who teaches medical doctors anatomy and physiology. So we all are into research here that are viable research, not crap that you want to hear. And 60 Minutes, way back when, did a study on the double-blind study syndrome and found that most of them were bogus, done wrong. Some in medical doctors' offices way back in Podunkville. This is on 60 Minutes. You could probably Google it. It was many years ago. But when you sit there and wait for a community that doesn't understand what causes your problem, and people haven't waken up to this, they're going to pass with stupidity because there's no curative value to the allopathic thinking. What science data do you want from pharmaceuticals or allopathic? Because they don't know what causes anything. What could you want from them? And how can they help you? Take a look at the death rate going on out here and the rate of people that can't get well. There's no curative value allopathically, my friend. None. They can treat and help your symptom, but they can't cure. And if you want to live like that and getting the blowback from the pharmaceutical on many times fatal events, go right ahead. But that's unawareness. You want to understand what causes these problems, as anybody should. And you want to look to people that are curing people. And we have a huge reputation out there for that, I have to tell you. And I've had that for 40 some years. That's why Jensen and all the people came to me. So it's just simple and easy. And I'm here on this planet to bring you this simple, easy information. And it's easy. If you don't want to change your mind and change your lifestyle, who cares? If you're older and you're happy, go ahead and die. If you want to wait for a scientific information to come out, you're going to grow old and you're going to have fungus growing on you because there is none. They don't hold the key. We do. And you guys need to accept the fact that you guys are the key. You guys that are getting into the raw foods and getting into the herbs, you're the key to the future, to the plant. Not the people waiting for studies and looking at pharmaceuticals and allopathy. They're the ones that are going to reincarnate till they wake up. So I would take this on and enjoy it. We're frugivores. We're islanders. National Geographic, Discovery Channel. We are islanders. Islanders are frugivores. Sorry. And when you accept that and you journey into this world, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of energy. The body feels good. You wake up more and more and more. What more could you want? If you want to stay and play in fantasy land, have at it. This is a rock spin through space at what, 23,000 miles a second or whatever. And it's an illusion. It'll be gone in a flash.
What is the best way to supplement iodine, vitamin D, and vitamin D in the winter? What numbers should your iodine and vitamin D be at?
I don't know those things either. I don't even care because vitamin D, you have to realize vitamin D is produced when you get out in the sun. It is produced differently. So if you're not in the sun much, you don't have a lot of vitamin D. You go out in the sun, then your body produces it. Why? Protect you from the radiation. So medical doctors like these standardized thinkings and stuff like this. Nature doesn't have standardized thinking, not at all. So the body does the vitamin D thing. And what was the other thing she wanted?
Vitamin D and iodine.
Iodine. You never want to isolate iodine, guys. Toxic as all get out. And if your lymph system isn't filtering properly, I see iodine all in people's eyes from it not going anywhere. You want iodine, go to kelp. Kelp to me is one of the greatest foods. Look, when you look at what's the name of this book? Food Facts and Composition of Foods by Harrison Ford or something like that. Try to find that book. We have it here. It's available online, I think, but it's a breakdown of all the foods and the chemistry of that. So kelp is like way up there, higher than dulse in iodine. And Guess what iodine does? All right. It trips up the thyroid and parathyroid. Okay. So what else would you expect to find with high iodine foods? High calcium. Yep, because iodine trips up the parathyroid. You got the calcium for utilization. Bam, bam, bam. Smart creator.
What are your thoughts on B12 injections? I got my blood test done and it was deficient. How should I raise my B12?
Go on raw. Go on raw. Clean your lymph system out, and I guarantee your B12 will be fine. If you're fatigued, don't blame B12. Blame your adrenal glands. Don't blame B12. That's that smoke screen. Go to your adrenal glands. That's where your cope comes from. That's where all these coenzymes and vitamins go to those adrenal glands, guys, and work on them. Because you want healthy adrenal glands. Get used to looking at your eyes because you get to see every body part that you have and the condition that it's in. You might not like sometimes what you see, but then you can fix it. You can there's herbs for every body part out there. And you got the foods, which actually the foods are designed for body parts too. You know, each food is conscious. You know, sometimes you guys ought to come to our classes and we'll show you how creation is put together. It's interesting to understand how that is. And then you understand why there's genetic memories, why there's phantom limb syndromes, why there's all kinds of things.
Do we need a large variety of fruits, or can we eat mostly the same 5 or 6 fruits all year round and still get everything we need?
You know, I did watch a mama orangutan once. You know, generally it's mono, if you think about it. And it should be mono because each food is its own consciousness. So you want it down. And try this one. Try a week of mono eating, right? Try a week of just grapes. That's nothing. Grapes or mangoes or whatever you can get that's really good, right? And then have you a salad to terminate that. And look at the difference in how you feel. Simplicity always is the best. And so the more mono, if you think about it, the better digestion, the better absorption. You're going to get almost complete utilization of your food. You know, I used to push the rainbow diet. That's a full colored diet, you know. But then you start getting more confused because everything has its own consciousness. So you have to be careful with that. If you want to keep your awareness, you have to be careful all the stuff you bring into your arena. So I think the simpler you eat, always the better in actuality. Your body will do better. You know, we get this scientific thinking and all this nutrition, and it's like, look at what we do on fruits, berries, and melons. Look at the Lou Gehrig's cases that we've had that were wheelchair bound, totally twisted, couldn't speak, now walking, untwisted, and speaking. Look at how many of those, and the MSs, and all these people through the years we've regenerated on fruits, berries, and melons, and herbs. And we're doing it every day, and you guys are doing it. I mean, you guys that follow us on YouTube, you guys are kicking butt out there. I can't believe some of you guys, what you're doing out there. And the amazing stuff you're getting out of yourselves. We get pictures from the urines and pictures from the worms and the stool, the plaque, and it's pretty nasty out there. So clean your bodies up, and you can't believe how good you feel getting this sewer system cleaned out of you. If you're in pain or swelling, get that acid out of you. And your kidneys are the doorway, or your skin, third kidney.
All right. I think this might be our last question.
Okay.
Which herb formulas do you recommend I start with for endometriosis? Kidney and bladder and lymphatic. I've already done kidney and bladder tonic 1 and lymphatic system tonic 1.
Okay, so what I would do is I would do a little more of a program. I would do the kidney. I'd do 2 kidney formulas. Kidney number 1 and say kidney number 4. Do the number 1 in capsules and the number 4 in tinctures. That way you're double protected there. If you want to grab fast, I do lymphatic 5, and that's strong. That's strong. These are the blood root, pump root, but endometriosis is a booger bear, so you want to really get honking on that. I'd probably leave the lymph node off of that for a little while, but I would definitely add an adrenal or an endocrine gland or both. You want to make sure you're kicking up that adrenal gland to kick the kidneys, because that's the problem. You know, we're so used to using our dopamines and not, we're so used to using our epinephrines and our norepinephrines and not our dopamines. You know, you realize that activity requires all neurotransmitters, right? And everything works neurologically. Well, when we're stressed and everything, we're using our epis. Well, dopamine and acetylcholine work with elimination. So when you want to fight or run or something, you can't be eliminating as well. So it has to shut some things down to put power to the muscles. So if you're always putting power to the muscles and you're not taking time to rest and everything else, then your elimination is off. So everything is all in cycles that way. Now, I would also douche with a Heal All tea. I would douche for about 2 weeks, one time a night. You know, try to get it up as far as you can. I'm not expecting to get rid of endometriosis with that, but I am expecting to clean the vaginal canal and part of the cervix. So that is taken away from you. And also you're going to clean those tissues through the kidneys, right? Now you want to clean up your bowels too, because remember the uteri, the ovaries came out of the colon in the embryonic stages, came out of your gut tissue. So these are all wrapped with gut tissue. And so there is that relationship. So you want to clean up your bowels when you do this. When you go after the body as a whole, it'll respond that way. When you're half-assing it, pardon my French, that's what you get. So go after it that way. And then I would go on a 20-day grape fast. What do you got to lose? Grapes and lemons. You know, we had a famous model. She had lung and bone cancer. 43 days, grapes and lemons, no more lung or bone cancer. So good stuff.
All right, let's see. Do we have time for one more?
I guess they're allowing us to go on, right?
5 minutes. Yeah.
5 minutes?
5
Okay.
minutes? Okay.
We'll do one more. My mom suffers from a bit from glaucoma. The specialists say there's nothing they can do. What do you think? Do you have any message for her? Her name is Liz.
Hey, Liz. Glaucoma. This is lymphatic pressure, not blood pressure. This is lymphatic pressure. So your mama wants to get this out ASAP, because this kind of pressure, and some of you might be experiencing this, it's now the head pressure. And it gets so bad you just want to kill yourself. It's so much pressure. This is lymphatic pressure. I've never seen the tumors like nowadays all over the head, necks. Olden days, they worked themselves up because of the lymph system. So her problem's kidneys and adrenals. And you want to clean up her bowels. I would candle her ears. On the back, you have neurolymphatic points. We have charts. Look them up. Work on her neurolymphatic points. Get her kidneys and adrenals. Get on that lymphatic formulas and start getting her to drain. She has to start draining the sinuses, because this is a pressure you can't treat. You can't treat it as blood pressure because it's lymph pressure. And it's the worst kind of pressure you can have because it'll lead to MACDs. This is acid pressure. And that's edemic pressure and everything else from this. And it's just not good. Nothing good comes of glaucomic type pressures, just from what is causing them. So she needs to fix this. And fix it she can, real easy. She's just got to get her lymph system filtering through her kidney. Have her pee in a jar and I'll bet you $100 it's clear. Oh, is that it? Oh, man. You guys are a lot of fun sometimes, guys. So I appreciate you letting me talk to you, and I enjoyed this this expo, this vegan summit, and I think it needs to grow and grow and grow. More people need to learn raw veganism. Forget the cooked. You know, you can have some steamed vegetables once in a while, of course, and this and that once in a while, of course. But you want to always think raw, raw, raw. Cooked is what you cheat on, balance on, okay. But raw is what you stay vibrant and healthy on. So I love you guys. Thanks so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much.